one of the hardest things for these telecom companies to do is to raise revenues by any type of tangible percentage. You hear the conversations that happen at the earnings conferences all the time. And the investors and the market analysts all want to know, when are AT&T, Verizon, and now even T-Mobile kind of starting to plateau as their business has been scaling over the last few years. When do you get past this low single-digit growth percentage in revenues? Well, one of the things that AT&T and Verizon are going to be kind of looking at is an opportunity, and that is a new business opportunity. And what they're doing is they're becoming the landlords of infrastructure access for AI companies. All right, and what we mean by is like AI in the form of AI, media, AI content, tools and management, and all these different things that AI will entail in the future. This is a scalable business model actually for Verizon and AT&T because they own a lot of their assets. And when we discuss assets, we're talking about, locations where they have the ownership of infrastructure. Okay, so we're talking about power, namely, right? Think about that for a second. Every one of these tower sites that has backup generators and power, and, these data centers and all these things, like this is all possible avenues for them to monetize. And this is what the investor has been looking for because it's not happening in a really mature and saturated market. Guys, the telco business has churn rates under 1%. Right? Think about that for a second. Verizon's is 0.89, AT&T's is 0.85, T-Mobile's is 0.93. Like you've got to find ways to monetize your assets. It's as simple as that. And they're spending, tens of billions on their networks every year, and they're purchasing spectrum and they're buying more airwaves and they're doing all these things. They have to find ways to monetize their assets, and this is one of them. So for AT&T and Verizon, when do they start reporting this? How much money, how much revenue will they generate? How much will this business scale? I mean, we'll have to wait and see. I don't have those answers. I don't think anybody does. And when they were asked about this at their earnings conferences, they really didn't have, the ability to look into the future and say, here's how much this is going to generate. Here's the growth rate potential. It's too early for this, right? It's early innings in this kind of foray for AT&T and Verizon. But notice that T-Mobile doesn't have the same type of assets, so they're not really in this conversation. All right, that may change in the future, right? They're buying US Cellular, they're getting into fiber, so these things can change obviously. But as of right now, this has upside for AT&T and Verizon. I'm just not sure about the time frame and how big it actually scales, but the potential definitely could be there. And of course, that's music to the ears of the investor in these companies because they can do more if they're making more money. And that gets us excited too as the customer. Allows them to innovate more, allows them to reinvest in the business, allows them to free up their debt, which gives them more flexibility in them doing more in the business, right? So that's actually pretty exciting. I'm sure the investor's thrilled, but let's see what happens. Let's see how this plays out. I'll be sure to track this story more so in the future, but keep it locked and keep it tuned here to the channel as we cover all the future developments of the telco industry. Like and share, drop me a comment, check out some more of our videos. They're here at the end. We'll see you guys on the next one.